could have done different. I think this is definitely one of our more contested. So I'm curious to see draft ideology comparative to execution, because I think there's problems with both.
And
That's
that's
just
fine.
my opinion, but you know.
So
I think.
go ahead. Yep.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think my biggest opinion on this whole thing was just that because we all have such different ideas that none of us were on the same page, and that was our biggest problem. Not draft, not execution, but it's that we all had a different idea about how this game should have gone and how this comp should have worked, and that is a big failing.
And go ahead.
I don't agree.
No worries.
Just because like this is not a new comp for us. We know what this comp is. I think that the way that we were wrong was I think we all knew what we were playing. I think that we just either misplayed it or didn't account for what tools they had that made it hard for us to play what we wanted to play. That's my perspective.
That's all good. Like, honestly, like, I think this is part of why this map, like, and I would absolutely love, if it can happen, it would be a wonderful coaching moment for both teams. If somehow in the next couple weeks during XGD, if they have free time, you have scrim time, and it works out, I would absolutely love for you two to play the exact same comps back at each other. Because when I look at this, like, everyone can see my screen, right? So, okay.
Yeah.
When I look at this composition, there is no X person won in draft. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like one team clearly beat the other team in draft. And when I first saw your guys' breakdown of the conversation and seeing how, it's like, oh, they're so aggressive, and if they land their combo, like, no one can live, everyone just dies, and this and that, and it's like, okay, sure. Like, they have tools for their win condition. So when I look back at this, the first question I have is, what is your win condition? Because, like, you guys have been saying for a while, poke plus R, which I absolutely love because it gives you a good concept of what heroes you want, and it gives you a good concept of, like, who you actually, what your goal is, right? Because it's like we're going to poke them, and then we're going to hit R. Okay, so we are going to be poking for what purpose, right? Because poke by itself doesn't necessarily generate anything, right? Like, especially if, like, the poke doesn't necessarily force someone to move or force someone to, give up a position, right? Like, that's the whole idea, is that, like, if we change the map, if we're poking on Brax's holdout, right? It's like it's like you guys control the point, that's fine. We've cleared the wave, and we're just going to keep poking you. How long are you going to stand on the point? Because eventually, you have to leave the point, or you're going to die, right? And it's like, and then we use our cool R buttons to help secure when they're retreating, or potentially the R buttons are going to help us enable that engage/kill. And so I love that concept and that idea. So when we're kind of with that in mind, if that's how you guys define poke plus R, my question is how does our team win this game? Like, what is our win condition? And if you want to use the Tom stuff, great. If not, that's fine. But, like, for me, like, I have an idea of how you should win this game. Go ahead.
Well, to me, this is an objective-based comp.
Okay.
Because we have good vision control, we can control the turn-in points, and we can defend the objective with long-distance poke and force them either to get low or to go back, basically trading out their health for our objective while it's pushing. We have better wave clear with the Gul'dan to rotate fast and get spider butts and collect them really well. Joe can step up and collect things and walk out of it with her unstoppable. Rhaegar's got slows to enable disengage. So for me, this is an objective base.
Okay, I like that.
I feel like the way that we've executed this comp, and feel free to shout me down if everybody disagrees here, but I've mentioned it a few times when we've been playing it, when we've had portions of the game that have not been going well when we've been playing this comp. And there's been a few times where I've been like, hey, we need to poke. We're not poking them. We need to poke. We need to stop engaging hard, and we need to poke. and we're not doing that. And I feel like a lot of the times when we play this comp, they're strong heroes and they do have poke, but we're not playing it in the spirit of what we designed this comp to do. This comp is sit back, get the tank low, and when we're in a favorable position, we press our R buttons and we kill them. That is what this comp is. And lately, the last few weeks, I think we have been able to get by without skilling the other teams without playing what this comp is actually designed to do. Because if we go and we look at the replays, we don't sit and we poke them out. We poke them a little bit, but we still hard engage and we just win the fights. So to my mind, this comp has almost become more of a team fight comp just because it's not just poke them out. It's not what we're doing.
What the question is it because we're facing a lower team that doesn't not respect, but we're allowed to get away with it?
Exactly.
Versus how we're supposed to be playing.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I agree on this assessment. We had a couple of games recently where we played this comp without really playing its playstyle, and we still won because we just faced opponents which
You're the best example of what you just said is your Cursed Hollow Bleckman game, because you guys essentially drafted almost this, except for you had, I think, Junk and Vala.
Yeah.
And so it's like that game, you guys 100% should have lost at one point. Like you guys lost, I think, 2 or 3 members, and they were all hanging around at like 50% health for no reason, trying to like take a boss or take a channel, and then Harkin got like a triple kill with Tootie's help. Because they just stood around and let you kept shooting them. I was like, "What is happening? Like this shouldn't be happening."
Yeah. That was the channel where I got. Yeah, we killed 4 of them for 2.
Yeah, like it was just flat out like they won the team fight, they won everything, and then they're like, "Vala hurts. Vala hurts." It's like why?
Why does Vala hurt? Oh my God, we're all dead. What?
But I thought it was important to kind of preface that with this because that's been a shift. A mentality shift that I think we've experienced. So when we're talking about what is our intent with this comp, I think that our intent is poke plus R, but our execution is not poke plus R. And I think we'll see also that either it's a matter of individual execution or a matter of a compositional problem, but we don't have the ability to step in and even poke.
Well, and that's why I say that this comp, the win condition on this comp is not team fight, I don't think. I think it's objective.
I agree with that. I'm talking about more of how we've been playing it.
Yeah, that's fine. And I think both of those are excellent points to start with, because any comp you can force to any win condition. Are you good at it? Maybe. It's like, are they better at something? Maybe. Like, clearly, you guys called it out from the beginning. Their condition is front to back, single target pick. Right? Like, they don't care who they get. Since they got Varian Stukov, even Joe potentially can be killed. Because you won't be able to pop a D.
Yep.
I know, right? Like, I don't know. I'm looking at this comp right now, and I'm like, did you play us? Because this is like all of my teams here. so like, it's like, so I look at this, and the big thing for me is, okay, if I was in your shoes, the question is like, how do I tear this apart? How do I force a win out of this? And Tootie's comments were perfect about, it's like, guys, we need to interrupt the combo, or we need to like use our ults to counter do things, which is all perfect. But like, what tools do we need to bring then from our heroes if we're gonna play more of that objective version? And it is a mind shift change, just like you guys mentioned, because in my opinion, we took 1 to 2 wrong ults this game. And as I'm like, and I'm willing to pivot on them, like I said, as we watch and review and all that stuff. But I think we potentially could have picked 2 different ults, and that would have helped us be a little bit more pokey per se, but also give us more of that counter engage when it makes sense. Because
we definitely
like
counted 1 ult, and Moose and I went over it, and I think we counted 6 different ways that we could stop them from blowing up their kill target. Like 6 different buttons we had.
Yeah. So the big thing, I agree.
Go blinds, dragon arrow, falling shield if we take it, ancestral, and horrify.
Yeah. So we've got lots of ways to break things up, But the only way that they get a kill, right, is if they get you quote unquote isolated, or we break up our strength, which is the fact that like we are an objective based comp. I 100% agree with your assessment, Harkin. I think this is an objective based comp. Like you guys have better wave clear. I would say, you guys have better wave clear. Yes, their wave clear is not as safe. Is the big thing, right? KT has plenty of wave clear. If Tychus goes into grenade build, he has more wave clear. But like with being an objective based comp, as funny as it sounds, what is the objective on this map?
Spiders.
It's so besides turn-in, it's the butts.
Well,
yeah.
If I can't pick up the butts, I cannot, effectively turn them in. So you have like 3 different ways to quote unquote stop the objective, right? Like say it's like if you collect the butts, if you stop them from collecting the butts, you stall their butts, right? Like so there's different ways to actually win this. And so I'll go ahead and get started as far as this is going, as far as review stuff goes, because I do believe.
Can I ask one more question, Rock, before you go? So I know that you said that looking at this is a winnable draft, right?
Yes.
We've talked about, like you said, that this is definitely a winnable draft.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that in mind, what does this draft not want to face? Because from my perspective, this draft is weak to gap closers, it's weak to dive, and it's weak to people that get picked off and killed. Like, we don't have hard peel, we've got soft peel, and it seems to me like if we're looking at purely draft on draft, which I know is not the entire purpose here, but if we're looking draft on draft, if this draft is not weak to dive and this blow up comp, what is it weak to? Because I'm unclear.
No, I agree with you. I said I'm like definitely the anytime you take a quote unquote team fight pick oriented comp, right? I'm like if you say, well, the the pick comp got their pick, well then of course they're gonna disassemble what you have and they're able to win. So it's like the biggest thing that you guys are gonna be weak to is not necessarily heroes, but it's gonna come down to fights and positioning. Because if you, even if, like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, Joe being the one that's quote-unquote most forward, right? Even if Joe gets full buttons thrown, right? If Tootie's there, it doesn't matter. Because all their buttons were thrown, and I throw an Ancestral. Right? Okay, cool. We're ready to keep going. And it turns into a huge counter-engage because they just threw all their buttons. So it's like...
So is it more safe to say that this draft specifically is purely an execution-based difference? Because, if we're not going to give an advantage, and it's a moot point, and I know that, and I'm not trying to beat that to death, but I think it's important to highlight if we're going to identify how we can improve. I think that we can look at what tells and what things we see come through in the draft, like an early Stukov. They can tell us what they're going to do, and we have the ability to pivot.
Yep.
So if this is not a draft loss, then is it just they executed better? And if that's the case, what is this draft that we want to play weak against? Because I want to know what we don't want to play it into if it's not this.
Understood. So I think 2 things. One, we talk about execution barrier. Flat out, you have a Hanzo. Not that, like, Hanzo's a bad hero. Hanzo is probably one of the most skill cap heroes in the game.
Skill cap,
so you're already, quote unquote, have a harder draft because you have Hanzo. But you also have a better draft because you have Hanzo. So it's like, and in the same way, like any team that's played for some segment of time can land taunt plus Stukov. They may not have the KT on top. They may not have the 3rd, 4th, 5th stun on top. But anyone can land taunt plus puddle. Right?
Yep.
So truly, like you asked me, like, you guys have a difficult time, but it's not because of the heroes, it's because it's not going to be because you're weak to it, it's because it's going to be a harder execution victory for you.
Yeah.
So
the burden of execution is on our comp, not on theirs. They just go in, same sequence of buttons. I'm taunting this person, silence, kill.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so without being a stick in the mud on it, is there anything that this draft does not want to play against? just for the sake of my mental ease and allowing me to sleep at night. What do we see and we go, shit, don't want to play that?
Let me quick post for you a cheat sheet. So it's not necessarily going to be, quote unquote, what does this draft? But my cheat sheet here is going to be more of what do
macro
these...
loses the team fight loses to objective, that thing. Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
So, and it's not, as rock, paper, scissory as you would like, but I just posted it in team business. So
thank you.
Calling us an objective comp, right? Like what we want to do in general is usually match waves, look for safe rotations, right? Like you'd say it's like, and then we want to be able to set up and defend objectives. And we want to win with our objective, right? Like, heck, we are so strong. If we get to push an objective, you've got a Horrify that separates them and kills them if they're standing there defending it. You've got Hanzo arrows that stun them under the spider butts and make your pushes that much stronger. You've got crazy siege damage in Gul'dan and Sonya, right? Like, you guys do really strong when you win the objective.
We've got lots of vision to know where they are at all times, so we can cut off rotations, set up ganks, and just pressure them constantly while they're defending, even behind walls and under buildings.
So in general, when you talk about what are you weak to, right? Say it's like the objective team becomes weak when they can't match soak. Right? Like the objective team becomes weak when they don't have the ability to hold the hold an even pace. Right? The objective team becomes weak when they lose the objective. Right? Like it's like if your whole game plan, like this is kind of weird because Spiderqueen is about spider butts and turn-in control. But like if you were to turn this instead into Brax's Holdout, right? Or Infernal Shrines. Like it's like, okay, Infernal Shrines, we bring Tychus and Alexstrasza and Diva and Ragnaros. And our game plan is everybody pushes their buttons, we win the objective. And if you push all your buttons and you don't win the objective, you're kind of like, well, I guess we're going to have to look for that secondary win condition, right? Like that very bottom line talks about when playing from behind. You got to potentially look for a secondary win condition because, one objective may not be enough to help you win. It might take 3 objectives now because of how far behind you are.
Yeah,
I think that's like incredibly helpful because our mindset needs to shift a little bit with how we play this comp because we've been playing this as a team fight, less an objective. So I think that's a really clear line that we can draw because obviously we had a lot of different opinions on what the problem was. So thank you. That's very helpful.
No problem. And I think that's natural. Like it's going to happen as we grow and as we learn, as we try different types of fighting styles. Because for example, on their team fight, right? If you look at this chart and you say, what do they want to do, right? Like anytime there's a fight, they want to fight over common ground, right? So they're like, if anyone's in this bush, we don't care who it is. I'm taunting it. Are you guys ready to throw your buttons at it? Right? And that's fine. And in the same way, when they're behind, which they don't really get behind this game, they're behind like the first maybe 2 minutes before they hit level 4. But like when they're behind, they're like, cool. As long as we get a kill, or as long as we get 2 kills, someone died, that's fine. But that's how they win this game is they need kills. Right? Sure, they have some good siege if they take Odin and if they have Phoenix or whatever. But yeah, I think it's a great discussion. And then hopefully, like I said, this isn't going to be like a forever type of replay review. Obviously, the replay is only 15 minutes. But also just, like I said, I'm not looking for, like, this is a bad mistake, this is where you should be. I'm thinking more for myself, where do we want to be and what do we want to be doing? If that makes sense. Because, like, knowing now, if our goal is to play, quote-unquote, objective, right, then it's like, what do we need from our team to play for the objective? If we're going to make sure that we're, contesting spider butts and keeping waves cleared and keeping good control of vision, then we need to be positioning and playing in those different ways as well. So, let's see here. This early game, you guys had a lot of early... Like, this is perfect. So your waves are done here. Right? So feel free to just go. Yep. What you guys do. Just so I'm like, you guys are on top of it. Like this, especially with them having a variant, your early game is incredibly strong. Like you can see already, they're throwing all of their buttons just to match up with your wave clear. Okay. I like that we're taking camp, so like we're doing this. Yep, everyone's playing safe. Perfect. You see here, we're matching waves, right? We might be ahead on rotation, but once again, as the objective team, we're matching waves. We're not, looking for kills. We're not trying to do stuff. We're actually ahead on the macro side because we got this camp done, which was great timing. I actually really like that it was done because for them to do the camp, which they're on right now, right? Like they can't do that. So then the call here to invade. I absolutely love it, right? They're weak early game. You have a great opportunity. We already see that there's one bottom. We saw that there were 1 or 2 top. This is a great invade, right? The fact that you got the camp at this point right here, right? Like, everyone needs to leave, which I think everyone does get out, and there's no
And then I'm also calling Rexar missing here, so we
perfect. Yep. Right, for being an objective-based comp, you were so far ahead of their wave clear macro that you were able to get this invade. Like that honestly is not normally what objective comps want to do, but the fact that like they have a Varian, you exploited that. You say it's like their camp clear is weak, right? Like, and you had tons of free time. You were able to let's go check, right? I absolutely love it. That was great. Now right here, we know as soon as they hit 4 that this is where we're scary, right? So it's like how much support can we give this camp, or how do we position to support this camp? So as soon as they hit 4, now they have a real boy, right? So it's like we see that they've got 4 of them here. We don't see Rexar right now. So what does the objective comp want to do? Right? We're trying to hold waves. So yeah. So like I see up here, we can be going. I see down here with core, right? Like we can be doing either one. But as soon as they hit 4, this is when it's like, okay, now they can actually threaten us. And so, unfortunately, we just split a little bit too much here. And look, they didn't have to work hard. They just pushed all their buttons on the taunt target. Right? So I'm like...
right in front of the gate.
Yep. So I think this one's real simple. Like it's not just don't get taunted. It's more of, okay, there's nothing left to gain here as a team. Let's go get something else.
Yeah,
right?
We need to recognize when we need to back out.
Yep. As well as you guys had vision that whole time of Varian, right? Between the Harken arrow or the blinds, like we saw where he was. So I think if we just back up 5 seconds earlier and get this camp done, right? If this is cleared instead of being here, they're still clearing this. Now they have to answer this. And you've got, plus more gems. I don't know if we lost 2D's gems. It looks like we
got
collected them.
2D's gems, but I think we lost a couple top.
Yeah.
And then they all go bot and get course, and they wouldn't have been able to do that because they would have had to answer top.
Right, which if we look at our little cheat sheet chart, right? So it's like, how do we win when we're behind, right? So it's fight over common ground, play on the enemy side, play off the map, constant aggression is their fighting style. So it's like so as soon as we left, there's nothing you can do there. Like as I'm like between calling it or being available to do that. So then at this point, we did lose a lot of gems there. We lost chorus gems. That one hurt. So once again, it's like, has the objective team come back? Well, we have to win the objective. So do we have arrow up here? We don't have sonic arrow yet. No, so if you need to check this, if you need to, you can scatter off of either this wall or this wall here, right?
And I think I tried to scatter off of that wall.
You scattered here, and we don't see them turning in, right? We see KT's top. We've got Joe clearing the wave, right? So like, I'm like, we need to be sticking together and focusing on the waves that we can control and can hit. If we see that
Varian's standing in that bush right by Trench, and he gets
is Varian right here? Okay.
Yeah.
Did I have buttons?
Looks like all your buttons are up. So
okay, yeah.
Well, the next thing that you need to remember when you're playing as the objective comp, right, is do they have enough? If your goal is to stall the objective, like, do they have enough gems? And yes, they do, but who has them?
Yeah.
Right? And so if I see... Well, I'm going to say, if I see KT's top, and he has gems, they can't turn in. Or, sorry, they can't get a turn in. Obviously, they can turn in, but as we're restabilizing and regrouping, it's like, I'm not going anywhere near bottom, because that's where core just died. So that means that they're either turning in here, which this scatter's good. We see that they're not turning in right now, or they're here. right?
Yep.
So so to me, my play here is we clear mid, and then see if we can stop KT or kill KT.
Yeah.
But let's see.
I think one of the things that we talked about at this point was like they're going to turn in, they're going to turn in, they're going to turn in. So my thought was, okay, I got to step up, throw a long E, or a long Q, and see if I can get an interrupt. Not thinking about where's the tank going to be? Duh, of course the tank's going to be in the bush right there.
Totally.
But,
you can even see your indicator,
that
right?
was like
this is where you're looking at the poke too.
So, we're like, shit, we got to interrupt.
Yep. So, and then you even threw the long range poke, right? And then unfortunately, it's all it takes. Like there was no damage there, right? I don't even think Tychus was there. That was just low blow and Varian. Right? I think to be fair, you were 75% health and had the like regen tap thing, but
Gul'dan things.
Yep. So, but yeah, like I said, I'm like just part of that decision tree making of how do we want to play our objective based comp and when do we need to stall and fight for our objective. So, because like your whole first 3 minutes there, 2 minutes there before we died right here was perfect. Like, you got everything where you wanted it. You had them running around the map where they couldn't even engage or fight you. Sure, they didn't have taunt yet, but, like, they were chasing you all game. And then as soon as they got those kills, now we're stuck chasing them.
Yeah.
So, we could have potentially stopped this turn in. Where did you mount? Did you mount in the lane instead of in the bush? It doesn't really matter that much. Yeah.
I think he mounted like just before the.
If you had walked to the bush to mount, you would have seen him here, and then you would have been able to poke him with your E first.
That's unlucky.
That's okay. It's just one of those things that I was like, as a tank, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, you mounted in lane instead of in the bush. So unfortunate, they got their +8, and that got them their turn in, right? So if we're playing for that objective stall turn-in, the other thing we need to look for, I know we just lost someone here, is who has gems, right? And so I called out that KT had gems. So where's our arrow go? Right? Like that's part of the objective is that they need to use their vision, right? Yeah. Like they want to be able to understand where are the threats and where are they going. And so...
so I should be giving vision on...
Yeah, so vision should be, if not directly on turn-in, at least... cut off what potentially is dangerous. Like, we saw them on this half of the map. Okay, let's look dangerous. Or, Moose and them just cleared top, and it's like, hey, we need to know, are they trying to turn in? And you can say, hey, I'm checking bottom with your vision arrow, right? Because you can throw vision arrow... Oh, I can't see it from here. But I'm pretty sure you can hit it here from where you're standing.
Oh, absolutely.
So, but yeah. So I said, so this... Go ahead.
Real quick, I'm just going to say goodnight, because I got training in the morning. I'm crashing hard. But,
no worries.
Good night, buddy.
Yeah, good luck on finals. I'll be watching, and if you need me to stand in for something, whatever, just let me know. Tuesday's my last night for the rest of this week, and then I'll be back for Friday next week. So
sweet. Thank you so much, Zebra. We'll catch you later.
Yeah, man. We'll see you guys.
So but yeah. So I said, I'm like, if your goal is objective, right? You want to make sure you're defending objective, fighting at butts, or keeping controls of the objective. And so despite those early game kills, we still had an opportunity to stall the objective or at least make sure that they don't win the objective. So little things. Like I said, I don't think it was like the biggest misplay ever. It was just, okay. Oh boy. Okay. I think you just die here. Oh no, you live. We trade trench, or no, we didn't even trade. Good job. See, we have buttons to live through the combo. All right. As far as clearing, we have really good wave clear. Yep, they all went top. That's fine. So clear what's easy, because you don't necessarily want to run right at them. We now have 7s. Okay, so if he's already posted here, now this is funny, right? He's trying to deter you from getting top, right?
Yep.
Okay. You don't have necessarily a quote-unquote kill comp, but you definitely can put pressure on him to the point where they have to choose between siege and helping.
Yep.
Right? Because their siege honestly isn't that great. They can clear minions. They don't have 10s yet. So we ended up walking past them, which is fine. Trench can't walk past. Ooh. Yeah, if we're going to take that fight, potentially take it here. I don't know if maybe you didn't see it because you were looking up here with your screen, but that's fine. Because now we did a half and half. So I think right here, are we clearing or are we fighting? Right? Like 2D's trying to clear. Like his clear is his melee. So it's like,
That
and
was
then
a mistake.
I believe, yeah,
Oh.
that was a bad jump.
oh, okay.
That's what happened there. Yeah.
We
I
miscommunicated.
I was in wolf form and I was trying to get to between the fountain and the fort, and then I hit some minion somewhere.
That's fine.
And
It's just
Gregor just jumped in.
But like looking at how much health this building has left, right? Like I think no matter what, this building was dead, right? Like
Yeah.
they came up here as 4, and so the only other thing you can do besides safely clearing back here behind it was that I think 1 or 2 moments here where you had a chance to get a kill, and then once that didn't happen, just everybody moves to this side of the building, and we say, okay, cool, we're happy, or everybody is fighting down here, ignoring the building. Because it's like I said, we're like kind of half and half using our abilities. Like Trench is hitting DWIT and the ability, so that's nice of DWIT to stand there for you. But yeah, that's unfortunate. And oh my gosh, Trench 70 health. Okay, so I said just being a little bit more clear on how does our win condition help with our clearing? Because oh my gosh, yeah, this was anytime the wall's down. That's not your advantage. That's their advantage to take the wall. So that's a death. And then we got our gems back at least. So, yep. Okay.
And that one is like, I think that one's a really key example of like, and maybe this is a mindset problem, but like, my thought is, okay, boss is low. They're pushing the wall hard. We have to try and poke them out. So, is it that we just sit behind the wall and let them have the wall for free, or should we be trying to do something there? Because like I know me stepping forward is the wrong thing, but should we be doing something, or is this just turtle up?
So no, I think you're doing the right thing. You're just go half a screen further up before you start doing it, and you're totally fine.
Do it behind the main wall and the towers instead of behind the side wall that's down.
The other thing to
note,
it's
not the decision; it's where the decision took place.
I believe you need to be poking and clearing them, right? That's part of your poke composition is you guys shouldn't feel safe to stand where you're standing. Because if you keep standing there, I'm going to keep pelting you, and you're going to have to leave or die. Right? So, like, that's the correct thing. Pushing them off, poking them off your area. Right? The strength of your team is in the unit. Right? You can almost think of an objective-based comp as a death ball. Because it's like, well, while we're together, a taunt plus Stukov silence isn't scary enough when we're together. But when we're not all together, that's when it becomes scary. And so we did just see Joe TP'd, right? Joe had to get health and mana.
Yeah.
And so
and Rhaegar's still dead.
Yep. So I definitely think right here, as soon as you see that wall is down, like you dodge this, which is correct. Say it's like I think you play up here. Just next to Harkin. Like obviously you don't want to stand right on top of him, but this was like even if you're
here.
That
was right there the problem.
Yeah, the fact that you went through the broken wall meant that he has extra range to grab you now where you normally have safety. And Moose was almost there.
Yeah.
So, no big deal.
Okay. Makes sense.
Because I said, you guys are actually doing... this is dangerous now. Core needs to run. Is Core trying to turn in? Is Core trying to cover mid? Ooh.
Yeah, this was a bad choice.
Looks like you didn't get punished
I think at this point we were starting to feel the pressure.
They're on top boss, that's why.
Oh, they're on boss?
We saw them go up, and
we knew they were on boss.
Okay.
We watched them run up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just saw Core rotating up and everyone disappearing off the map.
Because when I saw from our point of view, I'm like, what the fuck am I thinking? And then I remembered,
that's fine.
We know they're bossing, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I think we called it out a couple times that they were bossing and that we just continue to clear waves and play for 10.
Yeah, I think that's 100% right. The objective team is trying to match and get what you can. You don't have any of your tools yet to make pressure on the point, right? Like we don't have the Horrify, we don't have the Stun Arrow or Double Dragons, we don't have Leap or, like we can't really fight for this point. So I think you're right. Just playing for 10s and getting XP is good.
Who said that? Somebody said play for 10s. Moose?
2D and me both said.
2D? Yeah, somebody said play for 10s.
That was great. I think it's a great call. The fact that Varian's here, so this is the weird part. So Varian, I guess you guys are just that far behind, or that you had enough numbers showing that they could do this.
We also had turn-in, so I think he was just trying to make sure we didn't go top for turn-in,
Yeah.
and Rexar was trying to cover bottom.
Yep.
So that they could get a free boss
Mhm.
without us getting the turn-in to, sort of handicap their boss push.
Yeah. So, question for you: should you turn in right now?
Yes.
If Varian wasn't here, should we be trying to get a turn in?
Yes. I think so. If they push top with boss and we have turn in, then they lose value mid and potentially bot with Rexar, or 1v1 with you on Rexar. If they decide to defend the objective, then they get no value from boss. Boss is off the map for 2.5 minutes.
The other question is, do we just if we know for certain they're on boss, do we just try to make a plan with Rexar and then
Well,
I think the question that we have to ask is, what do we want to accomplish with the turn-in, right? Like, turn-ins have to be purposeful. So the question is, what do we want to accomplish? And there's only two things you can do with turn-in: de-push the lanes and try and normalize the map situation, or get value. And I think here, the only place that we need to de-push is top. Everywhere else is close enough to neutral. So I don't know that the turn-in is good here, because I don't know that we need a turn-in to de-push one lane. So it's not a defensive thing, and I don't know if we can get value offensively either. So I'm conflicted.
I would say
I'll put it this perspective. If we did turn in, then we know that at least they're going to be pushing top as 4 to try to get the keep. If we turn in, then they might go and defend, and we can clear the boss easier.
Which they did later, actually.
Yeah, which means that we would not take structure damage up top, and we get a free boss clear.
So if the goal is to turn in to purely, if the goal is to turn in purely to counter the boss, then we have to decide, is boss equal to 1 turn in? And I don't know if it is.
But on the same side, though,
I think the purpose of the turn in here isn't necessarily to say, hey, we're doing it just specifically to counter the boss. It's to force them to make a choice between either trying to get value with the boss and losing stuff elsewhere, or defending elsewhere and getting letting us have a free boss clear.
So if that's our decision, then where do we put our bodies? Because the web weavers are going to do things. So where do we let the web weavers do things, and where do we put our bodies to get what we want out of that decision?
Those are all great questions.
I think we'd have to defend. If in a perfect world, what I think that they probably would have done was push in top, and if they pushed in top, then our web weavers would get lanes elsewhere. We could have stalled maybe top lane.
Yeah.
So in my view, I said, I'm like, if you know they're on boss right now, a turn in here, yes, will soften the blow, but a smarter team will say, thanks for wasting your turn in.
That's what I was thinking. And if we're the objective-based team, we win with the objective, and we don't want to use it defensively.
Yes.
Right?
So it's like, as the objective-based team, we want these objectives to get value. And as much as we're behind right now, right, it's like if we turn in, we won't be able to push with our 10s, which is our power spike. Right? Like all of our buttons come online to where we can start getting kills and pressuring things. And if we turn in before that, then it's like our push does nothing. So I'm like, sure, they might send 4 top here, right? And then instead of getting the keep, they get it maybe to 25% health because the boss is there, right? So even in that case, if let's say that they stay long enough and they say, oops, we're not going to get this building because the boss is dying really fast. They walk away, they clear mid, and okay, you got a wall and maybe 50% health here. Because Rexar versus Sonya is going to be pretty neutral. Sure, she's going to lose some stuff, right? But so you get no buildings down for your objective.
Okay.
So I think it's a great point to try and see how do we want to play it. Because if you're a team fight comp, right? Like if we change dynamics, if we're the team fight comp, we need to get kills. How do we get kills? Break up their death ball, right? Like we need our 10s, we need our buttons. And so I think turning in's fine. Because it's like, we don't need the objective. I just want you dead. Because then I can hit buildings. Or then I can get turn in. Or then I can steal your stuff. Right? So
when we're playing the objective, we have to get value from turning in with the objective.
So
Okay.
just a good point of thought. Like, not that I'm like, shame on you guys for trying to turn in. Like, no. So, and then, okay, so we were looking down here to see, we're getting a camp. No, we're running top. Okay. How many players are needed to defend this boss?
For first boss, probably
2.
just Hanzo, right?
Oh,
This
definitely
is
not
first
Hanzo.
boss, and this is
Definitely
This
not
this is first
Hanzo.
boss in 310. I think maybe me and Course is enough because that's our top 2 siegers.
So
Maybe you and Tootie.
I was gonna say, I think
yeah.
just you and Tootie's fine.
Well, because like Course can't defend. My thought was Course can't defend safely, right? So
Agreed.
like
Court can't really like.
yeah, Course is susceptible to taunt puddle.
Mhm. Yep.
But if we have Tootie with the group, then Tootie has cleanse, and Tootie can maybe save somebody from getting taunt and killed. But so if Tootie's with me clearing, I don't know that that's optimal because then we take our cleanse away and we are limiting our ability to defend. But if we have Course and me, that's our 2 best siegers, and our cleanse is still with the group, which is going to be defending wherever they go.
But we still have Moose with the group, and Moose has the ability to interrupt their kill as well because he can blind the Tychus, taking away all of his damage on his trait, and he can condemn and pull Stukov out of the silence, right?
Yeah.
You watch them kill me without any damage, and you are just as much of a wet paper bag as I am on Hanzo, and so is Rhaegar.
Yeah. But to be fair, like I said, the only reason I ask is not that, hey, like once again that you guys misplayed this. It's okay if we send 4, what's the value? What do we get? Because if we send 4, this keep's not dying, regardless if you send 2 or 4. Yeah. Right? The difference is going to be 75% keep health versus 25% keep health. Right? And so it's like, okay, if I trade 50% keep health to, not lose the whole wall, or at least provide wave clear, right? I'm like, I love the idea of course going. I didn't even think about course. Like, I love that idea. Yeah. I think you could do either course Rhaegar or Kolskadan. Either one. Because we know they're pushing here, right? So if we know they're pushing here and they have 10s and they want to force their death ball on us for more team fights, A, we don't want to give it to them. And B, we just want to slow them down. Because we need 10s and we need the objective. And right now they're short on objective cash. Right? Like even if
I think also it's... Yeah. Sorry, I think it's also really worth noting that like we have to make sure they don't get that keep. The chance of them getting that keep is pretty much 0. But what does Course or I bring to them not killing us? I have Horrify. Course has nothing. Leap away.
Yep.
So we have no value to bring to the defense. So it makes sense to put us on the boss where they're not going to be and put the people with helpful buttons where they can defend the team pushing.
Yeah. That's fine. I think your wave clear is very safe when you have a wall still. I think your wave clear is the best.
So you can send Rhaegar because we have a wall. You can poke from behind.
Agreed.
I don't know. It doesn't really matter if it's Gul'dan or Sonya, I think. I can be there. It can also be Gul'dan and Sonya. 2 people. Any 2 people, really.
I agree. I just think it's just 2 is fine. I think that's all you needed. Because look at that. Yeah.
But what we should have done is when we were doing the boss, we should have taken our camp.
Definitely. That I 100% agree. If we would have, instead of using time up here to try and force that turn in, if we would have taken this camp when they were on boss, then this push doesn't potentially get as much value because they still have to can't answer that.
Yeah.
Like I said, remember, the objective mindset is we're trying to, quote unquote, go even, right? Like whether it be waves, objectives, camps, we're just trying to make things even until our objective power spike, and when the objective wins us the match, or we push with the objective to win. So obviously he's checking this camp because he didn't see anyone, or he thought Core might be there. So yeah, you didn't even take any keep damage, but we gave away this whole building for free for sending 4. And I don't think you can just hold 2 here and be like, see, you're safe. Like as soon as that wall goes down, no, you got to back up. It ain't safe.
So. I get so lucky here. Like it's actually just stupid. Oh, I love this.
Okay, so. Once again, as the objective team, this is hard because obviously we're down 10s. But like obviously we got like from our decisions that we've done, they got to turn in, right? And so it's like now they can potentially. Oh my gosh! Oh, did you shift queue that or are you just spamming R? That's nuts.
I shift queued it.
Okay.
Or no, I did spam R. Yeah,
That's fine.
Sorry.
Either way. Okay, so we got the bear kill. Oh, okay.
This was a misplay on me for sure.
This looks so good. It's just a little
We're
bit
not ready.
off.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
we're not ready yet.
Oh, okay. And then we overlapped our stuff. Okay, that's fine. I don't know if he dies, and then you die on the taunt. Okay.
Yeah.
So
A little too aggressive.
that's okay. So I have a maybe a dumb question here. Besides our positioning and stuff, what is our, like, when we're ready to fight, right? Like when we're finally actually ready to take a fight and they're not picking us off, how do we want to fight?
Well, we want to make their engage get blown, and then we just want to kill them before they have the chance to run away.
So in this
Either
instance,
that,
right, we had the
we
engage,
drag
right?
an arrow in for.
Okay, so we have Dragon Arrow. Like, maybe I'm crazy. One of the ults I thought of actually changing was Dragon Arrow.
Into meme strike.
Yeah,
Meme strike for zoning or for killing?
both.
Zoning has to be.
Both.
Okay.
So if you know, right, like, but it's like
They're
it's
all
like
gonna clump.
if they're in the clump, right, they're all gonna be coming in on that taunt target.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
And so if they charge in on you, say it's like, cool, here's the zone. You want to chase my guy? I'm doing damage to all 5 of you. And you have leap, right? Like, stand in the meme. You have shield for your engage. You have horrify for your engage or disengage. Right? Like, we used all 3
like
buttons
that.
here, and nothing got killed. And once again, it doesn't have to be, but it's just something to think about is how do you win? And most of the time in that objective sense, we want to push with the objective. We want to force them away from us. We want to control space. And if we have Meme Strike, that's more space that we can control. It gives us more siege, right? Because it's like, oh, you guys think you can clear this for free? Well, stand in this. And then they split, right? They run up, run down, or you just stun them in it, or you horrify them away. So go ahead.
I totally agree, like 1,000,000,000%. And I want to point out one other piece. We talked about this like 2 months ago. I can't remember who we played against. It was either Kingfisher's Blackmoon, one of our losses. It was the tomb map that we lost when we had the freaking 4-man mosh and we couldn't do anything. If we look at our tools, we have Poke plus R. We have our setup buttons for days. We have no kill them R buttons. Horrify kills nobody. Leap kills nobody. Shield kills nobody. Arrow kills nobody. Ancestral kills nobody. So we again drafted a Poke plus R with no Rs that kill anyone.
But we do have, like, no single R kills anybody. But if you combine
Meme
the
strike
Rs
would.
together,
But no,
think about.
but like when we have the Rs together, like, think of the stun chain we have. You have like Dragon Arrow on top of Leap, on top of Blessed Shield. If they switch those around.
I don't disagree, but we have to have the ability to kill them, right? So, like, if we're playing Poke plus R, we poke them low, we kill them with Rs. It only makes sense that we have to have an R button that does damage.
It doesn't necessarily. Once again,
Yeah.
it
I don't mean
depends
it's
on
necessary. I just mean that we didn't do it.
Understood. I think once again, it's that mind shift. Is this a team fight, or is this an objective? Because even if you're fighting over the objective, you still have to be able to get a kill on your team. And you're right. To get a kill here, nothing is going to die in the duration of a shield. Nothing's going to die in the duration of a dragon's arrow. Nothing's going to die in the duration of a fear.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not that they're
Right.
super tanky. It's just that your team isn't designed at this point in time, at level 10, to burst anyone on their team. You're
imagine
pushing
if,
as
like-
right? You're pushing as a
please.
unit, and you're fighting
Yeah.
through them, and you're out-sustaining, out-poking them away from this building. Right? Like, you actually did that. When you killed the bear, right, they had to leave. Because it's like, wow, they're doing that much damage to us. And then the shield hit, all of the buttons hit, you had that space controlled. And then once all of your buttons were down, they were like, oh, heck, I'm turning back in on you because you don't have your buttons. So yeah, I don't think necessarily that an R button has to be quote-unquote damage, but I do think that as you push for your objective or your team fight, right? Because if you were to change how the engagements were going to go and you want this to be a poke plus team fight, that's fine. But you need to change, potentially 2 heroes or 2 damages or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe a different way to say it is, instead of making sure that we have an R button that kills people, which I don't think is a bad idea, but maybe if we change our mindset away from that to, if we don't have an R button that kills people, make sure that we have other things that kill people. Because we've got Hanzo and Gul'dan, both of which have, outside of my Q, really long cooldowns between abilities and not great abilities to kill the entire team. I can get them all low, but I'm not good at killing anybody. And unless they're standing on top of a wall and Hanzo can scatter blow them up, he's not going to kill anybody by himself either. So
Correct.
Either we need to have R buttons that kill people, or we need to have heroes that kill people.
I agree. Just the 2 seconds on this, we engaged just slightly too early.
Yep.
As much as we needed, as much as we wanted this, I see Gul'dan's here. So this is 5v4, and Core pretty much just jumped in and died.
And that's also trench games.
Yeah, that was a choice. That was definitely a choice.
That's okay. I guess
I was going to call this play, I'm pretty sure.
I bet it was the call. Everyone was ready. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, that definitely was the call, was don't give this camp for free. But that's what the team fight comp wants. Like, we didn't have any of our ults up. Like, I know we just use Ancestral or whatever. Like, or we just
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So I'm like, but like, we don't want to fight.
We didn't have Ancestral, we didn't have...
Well, hold on. We used those. Let's back up real quick.
Oh, we did use Ancestral?
We did use this. We did use a couple of them.
I used Leap to get in. We used Blessed
I don't
Shield
think
to
Ancestral was
get
up,
in
but we definitely leaped in without Ancestral.
Yeah. We didn't have Ancestral.
Yeah.
Which is
So,
like the number one thing we should be looking for.
Yeah.
So that's our big counter.
I love this vision arrow, right? So now we know this is what they're doing. So the funny part here, as the objective-based comp, which I don't want to make you guys late. You have something at 8, so I will finish up. As the objective-based comp, right? This is asking for a team fight, right? And it's like, I'm like, and we don't have Ancestral. We're still clearing top. Can we as easily clear this camp when it's right here, with all of our buttons up, right? Like, this camp doesn't generate anything, and then us fighting potentially causes us to lose the only advantage on the map we have. What is the advantage we have right now on this map?
Our turn-in.
Gems, yeah. That's the only place we have an advantage. You have almost, you have 1.5 turn-ins here.
Yeah.
So it's like, so fighting them means that we potentially lose our advantage. Because if we lose our gems, which harkens most of them, but if we lose our gems, like, say it's like, then we still can't play our objective. So to me, this is one of those where it's like, crap, we're going to have to give that. So it's like, I think there is a world where this works. If Trench is here, and then once again, hear me out, what if this was Meme Strike? The exact
what if it was
positioning.
Reign of Sadness?
I don't think I want Reign of Sadness. but like,
if that was Meme Strike, that would have done a lot, especially with the people there.
Look how many stuns hold them in place. As soon as you hit this, there's 1, there's 2. I thought you threw shield in there too. I just didn't see it, but you threw shield in here too.
I threw shield.
Everybody heard it. Rock just said that Reign of Sadness is viable. Everybody heard it with Meme Strike, both together, combo online.
If you want to be a macro comp, Meme Strike is, if you want a macro comp, there's no problem with Reign of Destruction. Just most teams don't play that. Woo! He lived. So like, this is them being greedy. You guys 100% punish them overextending and being greedy. Right? Like, say, like, you had half of them hitting the building, the other half not. So it's like, I don't know if you get anything else here. No, it's good flaps. Oh, you might still get that one. Nope. Okay, we're clearing. Good. All right.
We just clear, yeah.
Yeah. So you guys have something in 2 minutes, I believe. So I'm not going to keep going through this. Not that I think there's other things we can learn and do. But I think the big picture from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing from everybody here is that, like, we just need to practice that new mindset. And we need to practice playing for what that win condition looks like. And if you would like a couple of replays, if you'd like a couple of replays, I have a couple, not of my team specifically. We don't play objective-based comps a lot of the time, outside of like when the objective is truly game-breaking. Like you have to play objective when you're playing Battlefield of Eternity, right? Like as much as you do other stuff, you have win conditions to help you win the objective. Like that one's pretty much that's all it is. So it's like, and then but you look at like Infernal Shrines you can play all 3 game types. It's super versatile in that manner, right? And it's like we play objective.
If we can decide that this comp is that, then I think we're way better off because we're not playing it that way, and I think we're getting away with it because of skill gap. Like, not to sound arrogant, but like that's what it is.
Yeah.
In Div E, I think that's a lot
Yeah.
of getting away with
So,
skill gap.
It's just skill gap.
But yeah, I think you guys, like I said, keep working on it. Keep working different stuff. If you slot in different heroes, just making sure that, like, if we're going to play Poke plus R, which I have no problem, it can be a team fight based one, right? It's like just, I think it changes a little bit of which heroes do what. If you're gonna poke on a map where you need to get kills, so it's like, what does the poke do, or where are we strong, where are we weak, and like clearly, this team, you saw at least 3 opportunities now where like they were standing still in a giant choke, and it's like, and that's where you guys excel. We want to push you out of this area. We want this camp. It's like let's go push in and like as a team and push them off that camp, because like Core didn't die to a taunt, right? Core died because we sat here and fought for 5 seconds through an ancestral, and eventually their taunt was back up again and got another kill.
Yeah.
Like it's like we never blew up when we were together. So
I have one question for you, Rock.
Yeah.
No, 2.
I don't know if I have time for that. That's fine.
Okay, first
One's
is
good, too.
the way that we play this composition what makes it objective based, or is it the heroes? And 2, if it is the heroes, what heroes can we change to make this be a team fight comp?
So I think the way that I came to the conclusion that it was objective based when I looked at your heroes, because it's right, it's kind of funny. You look at it and you go,
Yeah,
I'm like, well, I thought we were fighting. It's like,
because these are all great fighting heroes. Let's be honest.
so the way I came up with objective for this is going to come down to your engage tools and your kill tools. And so Joanna can be an engage tank. That is no problem. She has a great engage, blessed shields up every 60 seconds. Okay, if this is an engage kill comp, there needs to be burst that happens off of that engage, right? Like there has to be a way to get a kill off of that engage. So it's like, in reality here, between Gul'dan and Hanzo, it's not going to happen. And it's not necessarily that one of these 2 heroes has to be swapped. It's just, I look at them and I go, oh, they're both very sustainy until probably 13-16.
Yeah.
Then at 13-16, we get some huge power spikes, right? Like Hanzo's got the stupid giant killer arrow if we need to at 16, or the piercing arrow at 16, and all of a sudden, you've got burst. But playing a game for 16 is like saying playing a game for 20. Like, we'll win at 20, guys. Let's just do nothing till we hit 20. Like, I'm like, yes, you can build that way, but like, you still have to do constructive things. You can't just like spin in circles and get to 20.
So with as little changes as possible, how would you make this into a team fight comp?
I would have changed Gul'dan into KT or Jaina.
Yeah. Okay.
And now you still have the wave clear that you're looking for, but now you have a kill burst, right?
Yeah.
Because now whether it's Hanzo arrow or blessed shield or leap, Blizzard is going to land. Ring is going to land. Right? Like, I don't see any issue with any of those things going off.
Well, man, Pyroblast is going to land.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Like, it's like Flame Strike, Stun. You have tons of stuff, and I think just that little pivot means that our little 3-step combo becomes a kill combo instead of...
Well, I think that's definitely something we need to consider when we're looking at this, is like, we need to decide not only are we playing Poke plus R, or are we playing Poke plus R, and is it fight or is it objective? Because that's a very important distinction that we are not making, and we're playing at team fight almost every time, I feel like, and we're not just poking them to death first.
You can also play it as a macro. Change Sonya here to Dahaka.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, hey, I'm poking because Dahaka's pushing.
Oh my god, Tootie, your job just got so much harder.
right?
We
Like,
play it a lot with, like in the beginning, we played it a lot as a like real poke comp, and
Yeah.
I remember we also played Malfoil into that, which
Yeah.
can secure a kill because now you poke them, they can never get low because
Yep.
if they get low and Malfoil comes in and snags the kill.
Yep.
We did this
Like
with
we
Rag on.
started playing this comp on Towers of Doom most of the
Yeah.
time, and where we played it like as a true poke comp, where we like just be patient, drive
Yep.
them off a point,
Mm-hmm.
and then if they don't leave, we can still kill them once they blew their load.
Mm-hmm. And I think the big thing you just said there is that unfortunately the fun part about Heroes and also the difficult part about Heroes is it changes per comp. Right? Like it changes per map. Like it sucks because you're like, oh yeah, like I totally could do it's like I could totally do a composition where we're going to get kills. Right? Like, oh yeah, we're gonna play on Towers of Doom and we're gonna poke them out. What does the poke generate? Right? You poke them out because then you win the objective because they can't stand there anymore. Right? So like you're literally doing core damage because you poke them off of it. Versus on Spiderqueen, it's like we're objectively poking them so we can get the turn in. Or we're objectively poking them so that way we can control the pacing of the fights because you're not healthy enough to stand here. Right? Like it's a very different type of objective control compared to those channeling types where like, 2 pokes means I'm half health and now my team thought I had the objective and they're not in position to defend me. Right? Like there's so many different angles to that. So yeah, I love it. I'm excited for you guys. Like I said, in my like spoiler plan is regardless of outcome on the grand finals in a couple days here, I was gonna set up a meeting to go over more or less the whole season and talk about wins and losses, what we liked, what we didn't like, a teacher evaluation forum type of thing, and then talk about kind of what do you guys want to do next. Because
get ready for the hype because we're gonna beat the fucking bitch out of those guys.
and over the next week, I want us all to
Gonna stomp a mud hole in them bitches. not even gonna be close.
Revisit our hero pools as well, and just to kind of go over what you liked playing, what you didn't like playing, what we played a lot, and what we think we can take into the next season.
Totally, and then even
for sure.
And as not to sound pessimistic, but like even if you guys want to continue playing HOTS in the next season, like I know that like things change, people's times change, and I've always been a big fan of real life first, and so like there's a good chance that as much as like, hey, we're on a win streak and we're ready to go to Div D, like 2D took a promotion and now he's, vice chancellor of his university. And he's like, I can't play HOTS, guys. It's like...
That is the most German-sounding title ever.
Fucking Palpatine, you're getting your plane still, motherfucker.
Moose having a kid.
Moose having a kid. Like, there's a lot of real-life things that happen. So, like I said, I'm excited to watch your guys' game. It's going to be so much fun. So I said, if you need any other things from me, let me know. I'll be happy to put my 2 cents in. But
I need one more thing from you, Rock.
Oh, goodness. What's up?
Yep, get ready. I need to know which hero I need to focus on that fits the same mold as Junk and Tassadar that I can work at so I can have a third hero that's busted that breaks their fucking brain so they can't ban me out. That's what I want. Because I don't think it's Gul'dan. It might be Chromie.
So
hey, I have a fun idea.
Yeah, Lunar is good.
Just get really fucking cracked at Kel'Thuzad.
KTZ? Heck no. Oh, man.
Honestly,
or Mephisto.
Couldn't you take Zebo?
Do Mephisto.
Zebo's really good too. Like, so if you
I
think
just want to
about
know
it,
what
Junk,
Rock's thought is on it.
So
Junk and Tassadar, what fits the mold?
Do you guys? So hold on, before I continue, do you guys have something at 8? Because I don't want to push you out. It's already 8:08.
Just playing.
No, just playing.
Okay.
Practicing.
Okay, I will give you guys another 7 minutes, and then I'm gonna hop off and probably play or do something with Winiva. But okay.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
You're fine. So what do Junk and Tass do that you like?
So Tass confirms kills with wall. Both of them have great wave clear, safe wave clear, and they have poke. They both have big R buttons. Tassadar doesn't kill them so much as it clumps them together and helps assist with killing, but Junkrat kills them. So when I take both of them, I look at them for safe wave clear. I look at them for clear confirm, and then the 2 of them are slightly different. Junk is for area control, boss control, and vision and warding. Tassadar is for kill confirm.
So I think honestly.
Is it Chromie?
No. So if you think about what Chromie does,
Yeah.
sorry, I'll back up. The other thing you missed from both of those, which you said with kill confirm and stuff, I'm gonna break it down to simpler terms. So
Okay.
they displace heroes. They prevent heroes from moving. They
Okay.
have focus fired buttons in a specific area. Right? So does Chromie have those things? Yes. Right? Chromie has focus fired areas. She doesn't have displacement, but she has slowing sands and she has loop, which in some games, if they don't draft a cleanse and you last pick Chromie, bam! Every time I push cleanse, you dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like between your buttons and the team's follow up, like it's dumb. Like when people make draft errors like that. But so it's like so. But when you described all those heroes to me, I think Moose said it. I think Nazebo. I honestly.
Really?
So Nazebo has safe wave clear. It may not be instant, but he has safe wave clear in both spiders and frogs. He brings crazy displacement with a zombie wall. Right? Like zombie wall is stupid strong because you can't walk through it. Right? Like it's another task wall.
That's true.
And then what does he bring? He brings Ravenous Spirit. Please don't take Gargantuan. You can take it if you need to siege and, you know, we're a macro comp and that's how we're going to win is push down buttons. But Ravenous Spirit is so strong. Like I think people misplay Nazebo if they don't take Ravenous Spirit, but that's just my bias. So, because if they have like Diablo and they just APOC every time you Spirit, then it's kind of like moot and you just die. But you know, it's like, but people have to, you know, actually plan that type of stuff. So, but yeah, I honestly think that Nazebo fits in those type of bounds, and kind of like when would you draft Nazebo? You're like, I want someone that has safe wave clear, who can help with the double soak, who can help with this and that, you know, that kind of fits.
That's a really good point. Okay, and I like Nazebo too. Okay, I like that. That's what I wanted because I had never in a million billion years considered fucking Nazebro. So
that's fine.
Nazebro.
And then I also like the Lunara. I do like the Lunara. The Lunara does bring wave clear, but but the thing is you have to pick. Lunara loses her versatility when you're pigeonholed into specific talents.
Right.
And so like, not that the PVE on 4 is a bad talent, but like PVE on 4 means you can't take bigger Qs. So then you not being able to take bigger Qs makes landing choking pollen on 7 that much harder. And then on top of that, whether you take Ha 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 or Vines, right? Both of them are easier to land when you have the bigger Q.
Set up, yeah.
And so like, so it just changes how the gameplay plays. But like, if you have the PVE talent on 4, Luna has great wave clear and has great poke. She doesn't bring any displacement, right? And but like, you know, she brings vision, which is something maybe that your team needs if Hondo's not available, or we already, you know, committed to Kerrigan, you know, something like that, right? Like you already have a tool that you absolutely want, and then you're like, crap, we're gonna need vision because they're roaming, or crap, we need vision so we know when it's safe to siege, or we know when they're doing boss, or
no, that's super helpful because like I feel like that's one of our bigger weak points, and it's a weak point in me that like if we get Tass or Junk, I feel super strong, super confident, like yeah, we got this. But if they ban me out, like when I feel like we're the most vulnerable, if I don't get one of those two heroes, so I want a third that I can try to get to that level because both of those I feel like are a pretty good spot. So I want to at least have a third, so I'm not a viable ban out option. They can ban fucking Moose out like they're supposed to.
Right.
I dig it. Sweet. Well, anything else, guys? I promise I gave you 2 more minutes, like I said. But
Rock, I'm gonna ask you a question later. I'm not gonna take up time doing it now. But my question is, I would like to throw in a curveball on a champion for next season.
Sure.
So potentially a bruiser that could fill in the role of tank just for shits. I want to.
Leo.
There's plenty. There's absolutely plenty. I think there's.
I want to. Yeah, I just want to find something that's different than just the regular tanks, and like I said, have that curveball, right?
Okay.
Leo main tank into Joe.
Justin's tank tier list, and
I'm
you
like-
will have many
Yeah, I was
curveballs
like,
in
if you
there.
look at Justin's tier list, man, there's a
no,
bunch of alternatives. But yes, I think
Oh,
I do think the Leo into Joe matchup is not played enough.
Okay.
I do think that like as much as people continue to prioritize Joe, like even in CCL, you see people are picking the main tank right now that's made a splash that people haven't been talking about for a while is Muradin. And I do think that even I'm sleeping on Muradin because I haven't played it in the.
I told you fools that in chat the other freaking day. Justin said it. Murden's broken.
Best vision tank.
I said I'm like the main difference in how he plays Muradin compared to how other
Yeah.
tanks work is that the dwarf range is absurd. The fact that you like, yes, you know, good tanks will play out of vision and then they will jump over the wall and an engage just happens on you. Like the fact that Muradin becomes instead of it's really weird. Most tanks, when you look to engage, right? Like Joanna's not coming over the wall for you or coming behind the base for you. Joanna's walking at you, or you walked into a bush and Joe was there. Muradin and Anubarak, and maybe ETC with the fact that he can slide over the wall with 4, are probably the only tanks that's truly out of vision over the wall. All of a sudden, I'm dead. Just because other heroes were able to throw their abilities with me or, you know, behind me. Like, I don't know if you saw the Wildheart game from last week. It was Wildheart versus Simplicity. But there was one play where Sylvanas threw her Haunting Wave. Like, the rest of the team was in the bush at their top invade camp on Sky Temple. And so it's like she Haunting Waves over and throws out her mind control because they're 20s, it doesn't matter, you know, throw it out like candy. So it's like she leaped over, hit the mind control, and all of a sudden 3 players were on top of it and killed that player. And it was like over the wall, like I'm just fishing for it. And I was like, what? Like the fact that like, the team was ready for, hey, I'm going to try and make a play. And I think Muradin is played that way. And it's something where that means if you're playing Muradin like that the team needs to be able to be a little bit more self-sufficient as well and be able to help with the gap close. And because like, yeah, but then the other part of that is that, you know, Muradin playing so risky means that Muradin dies a lot. so I don't know. I'm interested in picking up Muradin. I think I want to play him some more because I've definitely been playing him more as like a Peely tank, and I don't like it. I'm like, why did I pick this? Like, I might as well pick somebody else. But seeing him play it with this cool deep engage, I was like, actually, I kind of like this. I think it fits. So
yeah, it's definitely different the way he does it. Kind of cool.
Yep.
I have no. Oh, there's somebody.
So.
Thank you, Rock.
No problem. Catch you guys
Appreciate
later.
your
I
wisdom.
recorded it, so you guys can take a look at some of that stuff later. And
Appreciate it.
no problem.
Thank you very much.
And then I said I'll be watching your guys' match, and if there's anything you have
that's Dragon
questions
down.
on, just let me know. So.
Yep.
All right. I will catch you guys later.